Hello everyone, thanks for dropping by. Sorry I'm a bit late today, but my brother came round earlier on to help me roll back the driver on my graphics card so I could play Modern Warfare 2 and 3, because the latest and greatest graphics card drivers that I had were causing 2 and 3 to crash and launch. But anyway, you all know who that is on the screen. And the only thing I've ever seen her in is Wolf, for now, the Wolf of Wall Street. And the question, would I date her? Not a chance. As you know, those who have been in this channel for a while, I've got an aversion to Australian women after the way I was treated in my adolescence and early teen years by Australian girls and then women as I got out of my teen years, so nah. She's about the same, about 5'6", or more or less the same height as me, and barefoot. We could look each other at eye level, but she's attractive, but I wouldn't want to go near her. It'd be interesting to see what she looks like in real life, but that's about it. Now, Robbie there is an actress, and as you know, AI is starting to make inroads into Hollywood, so it's only a matter of time before Robbie's job as a professional actress is threatened. Now, she's not the only woman who is threatened by AI, because looking around I found quite a few articles. First one is this. As you can see, it's the Independent newspaper from here in Britain, and study shows AI puts more women's jobs at risk. Twice as many women as men work in roles with a higher risk of exposure, the report found. This was done on 28th of April this year. If you scroll down, women are... No, it's not going to highlight it. Women are significantly more likely than men to work in jobs that are more exposed to impact of AI, a report have found. Almost 60% of jobs assessed as at risk of change from AI in London are filled by women. Data from the Greater London Authority, that's the council, suggests that making up 45% of the city's overall workforce. They also found 8% of women working in London are in roles with a high risk of change from AI compared to 4% of men. Administrative and customer service occupations are thought to be more at risk, and more than 300,000 administrative jobs in the city face the highest risk of exposure because their tasks align most closely with Gen AI capabilities, the report found. And then, women are overrepresented in these occupations in which generative AI is highly capable, the report said, making them more likely to be impacted by a shift towards automation, which is the same thing that happened in the factories when they started automating it, and the men lost their jobs. And it says, however, the report stressed it is not a forecast of job losses, but it will be, but instead indicates where job content is most likely to change. But the payroll is the biggest drain on a company's finances, so if they can cut the workforce and the cost of running the company, they're going to do that. Companies are not charities. And then it goes more yada yada. Now that's the Independent. Fast forward to March 7th, and I found this, 360, clean information for all. As you can see, AI is replacing women's jobs. Can we build inclusive workplaces? Now this is a sort of a pop at MGTOW. So if you scroll down, it's the usual thing. Women are now in a critical crossroads. On one hand, here's the transformative potential of a technological revolution. On the other, the risk of reinforcing gender prejudices within the digital infrastructure. So feminism is sticking its oar in. Says, for decades, women have faced numerous challenges: hunger, poverty, domestic violence, the burden of unpaid care work, and child marriage. And Now here's a growing concern of job losses driven by the AI revolution. International Women's Day, we analyse the future of AI could be shaped to protect women and advance more equitable future. And he says, AI is likely to disrupt the jobs dominated by women. More women work in offices and administrative jobs that are typically exposed to automation. True, same will happen when men worked in them, and hence bound to face higher disruptions. This shift could then significantly reshape career pathways and economic stability for many women in the workforce. And according to the Gender Snapshot 2025 report, employed women are more than twice as likely to work in jobs at higher risk of automation, 4.7% of women as compared to 2.4% of men, representing about 65 million jobs for women versus 51 million for men. And where's the bit which took my eye? This bit. Gender bias runs deep. Current AI frameworks, largely developed by men, tend to marginalize women. This is because artificial intelligence operates on data and algorithms, and humans shaping it are themselves often steeped in sociological biases. Programmers who are training AIs might unconsciously interpret reality through a predominant male lens. That's the feminist slant that they're giving it. AI is gonna the hierarchy, you know what I mean. And it says the UN reports highlights the incidence of gender bias in generative AI. While researching a novel, a user prompted the AI to write a story about a doctor and a nurse. The AI automatically assigned the doctor as male and the nurse as female, reflecting its tendency to reinforce gender stereotypes. So the feminists are going to protest about lines of code. This is particularly concerning as digitalization is constructing is constructing an entirely new sociological framework built upon data and algorithms that may already carry embedded biases. And then we have more about it, yada yada yada. It says, achieving gender equality in AI is essential to build a fair and inclusive digital future by empowering women through leadership, education, equitable success, as well as designing AI systems with unbiased data and inclusive frameworks. We can ensure the AI revolution is not gender blind and benefits everyone, because women should not be left on the sidelines of the digital revolution. But you can bet if women were programming AI algorithms, they would do it from a feminist point of view. So it swings both ways. That the pendulum, as they say. Plus AI is a twin-edged sword. Moving on, I found this. International Labour Organization. New International Labour Organization data confirm women face higher workplace risk from generative AI than men. And it says, a new report finds that women face higher risk and are concentrated in tasks more prone to automation and remain underrepresented in technology and science fields. Well, that's always been the domain of men. This was done on the 5th of March this year. And we have the usual thing, generative AI replacing the workforce with the potential to boost productivity, support job creation and improve job quality. But its impacts are far from gender neutral. A new research belief warns that generative AI is set to affect women's jobs more than men's, with female-dominated occupations almost twice as likely to be exposed to the technology. And then women concentrated in high-risk jobs across countries with available data, occupation dominated by women almost twice as likely to be exposed to AI as main ones, as the other bit said. And where's the bit that's about America? I think that's in one of the other articles. Sorry about this. When Gen I is expected to drive growth in technology in invasive sectors, women remained largely excluded from these opportunities. Globally, women have accounted for about 30% of the AI workforce in 2022, only 4% points lower than in 2016. They're also underrepresented in STEM jobs, science, technology, engineering, manufacturing, more broadly, particularly in high-demand fields such as engineering and software development. That's always been the domain of men. Men's brains are geared for that. This imbalance matters when women are missing from the AI-related jobs and decision-making roles. They are less likely to benefit from new employment opportunities and skill development. At the same time, enterprises lose out on talent, diversity, and innovation. And then yada yada yada. Strong labour market institutions and social dialogue are critical to this process by involving government, steady government, employers and workers in shaping Gen AI to be introduced at work. Technological change can support decent work and advance more inclusive workforce for all. So, as DEI has been infecting companies, we're going to see a version of DEI but geared towards AI to be inclusive, with women's putting feminist slant in the AI algorithms. That's what it comes across to me. Moving on. Forbes. This was done on March 17th. As you can see, women at greater risk of AI job losses. Study finds. Here's how to stay ahead. A new study exposed AI greater career risk to women, particularly those in clerical admin roles, due to fewer transferable skills, lower savings and less favourable locations. While many workers can adapt, 6.1 million, largely women, face significant challenges. The research stressed building transferable skills, financial resilience, and embracing AI tools for future job security. And then it's more or less saying the same thing as the other articles. Rather than focusing solely on who is more likely to lose their jobs to AI, as much previous research has, the researchers took a broader approach. They considered who is best positioned to find new roles if their current job is transformed by AI. Workers who can weather job loss and transition into another role face less risk than those who cannot. And then the good news is that according to research, around 70% of workers in careers with the greatest exposure to AI have skills to adapt and switch roles. More significantly, the researchers found that of the 30.1 million workers in jobs most likely to be impacted by AI, 26.5 million are in a good position to adapt or find jobs if necessary. That's debatable. And then yada yada yada. More about it. And the study also makes it abundantly clear that no one knows how AI will impact the job market. Nonetheless, workers who invest in acquiring adaptable skills, building financial resilience and flexibility may be best positioned to navigate whatever changes lie ahead. And this is actually written by a woman. So she's slanting at women can do that, but women tend to not be as adaptable in the job market as men. I found this, the link to all the rest, linking in AI replacing women in jobs, not targeting them. AI is replacing women in jobs. Here's the data. Anthropic just published new labour market research tracking which occupations are much affected by AI and actually having AI take over or supplement the task. And then comparing the two extremes, this study, women are roughly 50% percentage points more likely than men to be in a highly exposed group, 54%, rather than the unexposed group, 39%. And then more yada yada. AI is targeting women's work rather than showing up in office-based, computer-based roles, customer service, admin, data entry, computer and maths. These categories simply have more women in them than trades, transport or manual labour. Women like to work in a nice air-conditioned office and not on a building site. Now this cartoon said it all. Office work, AI arrives, replace the job, automated, and she takes up welding, but I can't see a woman like that taking up welding because it's a dirty, heavy, hard job. And then all these comments are by women, as you can see in the picture, except and that one, but still Anna, that's a woman. Moving on. The World Economic Forum is starting to get worried now about women. AI is changing the path to gender parity. This and other trends in jobs and skills this month. This was done on March 24th this year. And the Women's History Month. You notice they're all non-white women. So where's the white woman if they're all in for inclusivity? And there's a bit about America in this. Here we are. However, in America, according to the same analyst, women make up 57% of workers in roles likely to be disrupted by generative AI, versus 43% of men. Among women without AI engineering skills, 38% of women compared to 31% of men are in roles that are being disrupted, and fewer women are in jobs largely insulated from AI. That could be waitresses and shops and that, but even that's AI starting to come into that. Even in Modern Warfare 4, they've got an AI tool that helps you choose what sort of customization you want for your weapon. Obviously, Activision thinks that the players are far too stupid to think for themselves. It says the International Labour Organization estimates around 29% of jobs in female-dominated occupations are exposed to generative AI, compared to 16% in male-dominated occupations, with 16% of women jobs falling into the highest risk category versus just 3% for men. And it says approximately 6 million US workers who would find it harder to recover from AI-related job losses. 86% are women, concentrated in clerical and administrative roles where tasks are highly automatable, according to the Brookings Institute study. It says the data highlights a paradox where women are both catching up in AI skills and overrepresented in the roles exposed to AI, while still underrepresented in roles that design and govern these systems, the designers. And all that bit goes back to that. And where progress is being made, yada yada yada, yada yada yada. How government and business leaders respond. Embed gender parity in AI strategies from the outset, that's linking to that. Invest in gender responsive skills and career pathways, in other words, retraining. Redesign work around career and support, in other words, shifting women into other roles. That comes across to me. And then gender-end workers are planning for early retirement decades in advance. And that, moving on. I found this, women in business, even the business women are starting to see AI on the horizon. AI-resistant careers in 2026, what women in business need to know about the future of work. This was done on May the 10th this year. New research reveals AI-resistant careers and businesswomen should pay close attention. And then we got the usual thing, intelligence is transforming the workforce faster than most predicted in a few years. Whoops. Stop doing that, Christopher. Across industries, companies and automated repetitive tasks, including departments, and redefining what it means to be future-proof in a career. For women in business, these changes matter deeply because women remain disproportionately represented in administrative, support, retail and customer-facing positions that are highly vulnerable to automation. We could have go back 50, 60 years. The guys on a production line, if you're American, the Ford production line, or Chrysler, or General Motors, the big manufacturers for automobiles, they had thousands of men. And then they brought in automation because the Japanese were doing that. And all those men lost their jobs. Look what happened in Detroit. The manufacturers moved to cheaper areas with automation, and millions of American men lost their job. We're going to see this with millions of American women if AI gets really embedded. It says what makes a career AI resistant? Adaptability, stress tolerance, self-control. And top AI resistant careers: nurses, emergency physicians, judges, general surgeons, commercial pilots, physical assistants, airline pilots, flight test engineers, traffic controllers, veterinarians. A lot of those jobs, though, are mostly done by men, especially the airline pilots. 97% of airline pilots and flight engineers are men. And then healthcare and yada, 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 yada. I'm going on 20 minutes now, so I'll have to wrap it up. I found this on BBC News. This was done last 22nd. That would be last Wednesday. Will your job be replaced by AI? Here are the roles most affected. And the Fazal Islam, artificial intelligence companies are making vast claims about the ability of their tools to replace human labor. And then we go down to the graph, which is interesting. US entry-level jobs exposed to AI have been hit since ChatGPT launched. Exposed to AI. From there, 20 to 25-year-olds, the women in the prime. Look at the drop. All jobs. It's still the drop. Average age group. As you see, AI is affecting most American women aged 22 to 25, right after they come out of college with a massive debt hanging around their neck. It says jobs most exposed to AI are the top 20% of occupations by AI exposure, including software developers and customer service reps. And says, what does this mean for jobs? The most thorough analysis of these come from America, using 4 years of data on employment outcomes by age among a range of occupations more exposed to AI, including software developers and customers, contract reps, at least exposed to AI, health workers, care workers, and hairdressers. And then Stanford University analyst of wage and job data finds a hit to employment from 22 to 25% of 2.7% since GDP became widespread, rising to 12.8% in most AI-exposed sectors such as finance, software, and creative industries. Creative industries, you go back to Robbie. She's in the creative industry. The AI could have an actress that looks like her reciting roles. She's on a thin edge. It says UK is even the biggest falls in demand for AI-exposed jobs compared to other occupations. And then there's America, down 20%. That looks like 33% drop exposure to drops. AI we're even lower, and Australia, where Robbie comes from, is even in a worse state. And AI usage has surged in recent months. Engenic use, that would be artistic. And then this is company finances, etc. And AI usage is measured in tokens for small chunks of a text that AI systems use to understand, analyze and generate language. On average, one token is roughly equivalent to 3/4 of an English word. And the world's top companies are using AI, have deployed token leaderboards to try to get their employees to create as much gain in productivity as possible from the most advanced models. Trillions, sometimes thousands of trillions of tokens, quadrillions, have been used over the past few months, primarily for engenic use, which is for agents that can perform tasks automatically. The problem here is that incredible bills are racked up so much that many of these companies have now begun to ration the use of these models. So AI is doing jobs automatically, but it's costing the company money, so they're having to scale back to a degree. And it says, one factor to watch out, however, is that many companies, including Western ones, are diverting to much cheaper forms of AI derived from Chinese models that are provided freely onto the market. So that's like Chinese electric vehicles. Chinese AI is going to dominate the market if they're not careful. So there is much uncertainty here, but some clear trends emerging. The clear trend emerging is lots of these feminist women are going to be losing their job. They want to make it more inclusive so they can keep the job. But women are at a greater risk of job security, study finds. As the original study shows, AI puts more women's jobs at risk. And what's that one? New International Labour Organization confirms women face higher workplace risks for generative AI than men. So women are going to go like the croppers in early 19th century Britain, when the cropping machines were introduced, and within 5 years there were no more croppers in this country. But the companies introduced automation and the productivity went up. So we're going to see lots of women get laid off as they're replaced by a robot. Where's that little thing? Where is it? No, not that one. That cartoon. Must be this one. Nope. Oh, come on, Christopher. Find it. There we go. This is what's going to happen in the office place. Feminist woman, nice cushy job. Robot comes in to replace her. She can't do much, so she might have to go welding, but that's a man's world, and she won't be able to fit in because it's dirty, heavy work, and she's not really suitable for that kind of job, or like a man is. I think I'm on 20 minutes now. In fact, about half an hour. So things are going to change very soon now, and things for women like Robbie there, Hollywood's going to watch out, because the AI avalanche is going to destroy awful lot of acting careers. It might include hers. That's why a lot of these actresses, they turn to writing and direction, get behind the camera, because there's not much future in front of the camera. But the same also goes for male actors, so we just have to wait and see what happens. Right, I'm on half an hour. You all know the routine, people. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe. It's completely up to you. So until next Monday, I'll try and get a little bit earlier, but for now, that's it from me. Bye bye.